Let's talk supply chain.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Talk Supply Chain, and I am super excited. We are here on site at the Women in Supply Chain Forum in Atlanta. With me right now is Maria, but we'll get to Maria in just a minute. We have a question for you, so let me get to that because I know we have a question every single episode, and we're going to let you know the answer at the end of the show. So today's guest was first female director of operations at her organization. But according to the Women in Trucking Association, what percentage of executives in the C-suite in transportation and logistics are women? I know it's growing, but I still don't know the answer. So if you have any guesses, let us know on social, but I will let you know the answer at the end of the show. So today, Maria is joining me today. She is a results-driven leader. She's going to be talking to us all about her journey. You've been in the industry for, can I say it?
Absolutely.
24 years. We're
really
kind of similar. I was like 25 years, so it's okay.
So we're good.
And we're going to be talking all about her journey. She's going to be letting us know some advice, some challenges that you've been through, how to get over those, and so much more. So welcome to the show, Maria.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm so excited to have you here. So for everybody, why don't you tell them who you are, what you do, a little bit about the company.
So I'm Maria Madrigal. I work for WSI. It's a 3PL logistics company. Very proud to be working under them for 24 plus years. I am a director of operations. I oversee 3 sites currently, 3 different states. So really excited.
Awesome. Director of operations. So your whole career in supply chain been with the same company?
Absolutely. I wouldn't even know how to
interview
that
these days. I wouldn't know how to interview either.
I know I wouldn't either.
I went from the family business into my own business,
right.
So
yeah.
I'm not a very good interviewer.
Same company?
Wow, that's awesome, because you don't necessarily see that these days.
I
what made you stay?
So I've built, throughout the years, I built relationships, personal, and I just love WSI. I mean, it's like a family, right? We're not perfect. We have our imperfectionists. But overall, it's a family-oriented company. We're privately owned, so it's like home.
I love that.
So I'm definitely going to stay there. It's kind of like I can't get rid of my personal family. I can't get rid of my company.
So when I was doing research for this particular episode, something came up about you being a window clerk. Was that at WSI? Is that before WSI?
Nope, that was WSI. I started as
what was that?
Under a temp agency as a second shift window clerk.
So what is a window clerk?
So you actually check in the drivers, assign doors. I did a lot of data entry, and then worked my way up food chain ladder, as I call it.
Did you like the window job, the window clerk job?
No. Because you see a lot of, obviously drivers that are very disgruntled and so forth. But that started my journey of starting to build a thick skin in the game.
Yeah, you did.
So that kind of helped me, kind of stepping stone of trying to be uncomfortable with certain situations, and then driving that as something that I could turn into a success.
Yeah, because you would have worked with a lot of drivers in that particular position.
Over-the-road drivers.
I just want to acknowledge and appreciate you for staying in supply chain after starting in that job.
Yes, stuck around.
How did you stick around and stay?
Well, I was given opportunities to grow. So I started as a second shift, like I said, window clerk. Then I was moved to a customer service second shift, and then I got moved to first shift, so customer service, and I just started my journey as operational support, facility manager, more operational support, up to a director.
Cool. But you didn't have any formal education in supply chain. I'm with you though. When I started my career in supply chain, I was receptionist and sort of worked my way up. I did some courses by correspondence because back then it was called correspondence, or you actually went to class.
Right.
So I did a little bit of that, and so I totally get you, because I didn't have any formal training either. I kind of learned it all on the ground. What do you think about the education piece? Because for me, I feel like, yes, education is important, but I feel like all the experience that I gained by doing all the different things in a company was really where I learned the most.
I agree with you 1,000%. Education is obviously important, but there's no textbook that's going to teach you the things that you learn hands-on, real life. Like a textbook's not going to teach you how to safely unload a rail car that's shifted. You're not going to learn that from that.
That's so true.
But as you go, that's the only way you're going to learn hands-on. Not taking away from education is also important, but definitely hands-on first, real life.
Well, and also, I feel like you have to figure out what you like, what you don't like, what you're good at, what you're not
good at.
And I feel like if we put like education post high school,
Yeah.
I feel like you're putting the cart before the horse because you don't actually, like you kind of have an idea of what you want to do in your
But not
career,
really, right.
but you don't really know what you like, what you don't like, and all of that kind of stuff. So I'd like to
agree.
see a little bit more of that, maybe, and then go into the education component because then you can really do a deep dive and understand that particular niche that you want to be good at.
And I'm with you on that because I didn't go back to school until I was maybe 5 years within the company.
Okay.
So I just decided, let me just go back to school just to get an education, right?
Right.
But aside from that, I didn't have any formal education right before that.
Yeah.
I just fell into logistics and I landed there and I stayed there.
Yeah, awesome. I love to hear that. Now, you have had this career within WSI. You've done a number of different things. Talk to me about some of the challenges along the way. I mean,
Lots
you
of them.
started really in like a very rough and tumble, male-dominated side of the
Absolutely.
industry.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was a lot. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the challenges along the way and what that looked like?
Well, I'm going to give you a story.
Oh, please tell me
utilize this
stories.
story.
I love stories.
This story I use it, and this is actually the stepping stone of me saying, okay, it's coming.
Okay.
I gotta put my foot on the ground. So I was a facility manager, my first facility manager job, and I remember the sales rep from one of our customers that came in. He was just in the area, wanted to do some quality check on their product. Came in the lobby, asked for the facility manager. I was called. I was out on the floor. I was called to in, open the door, let him in, and I introduced myself. Hi, I'm Maria. How can I help you? So he's looking around, saying, "Where's the facility manager? I'm here for the facility manager."
Me too.
So I turned around and I said, "Hi, Maria. I am the facility manager. How can I help you?" And I would never forget this. He looked at me up and down. He said, "You are the manager?" So I said, "Yes. How can I help you?"
Did you have a cell phone at that point? I feel like we should have videotaped that.
I know, right?
Just saying.
So, but when he walked out of the building, he shook my hand. So that meant a lot to
Okay.
me. So those
You
kind
gained
of
that respect.
absolutely. I did know a little something, something. So I use that as bricks that were thrown at me, those challenges. And so what I did with those bricks, instead of me going in the corner crying, I used it as to build my foundation that I'm currently standing on. So I live in California, so earthquake state. Maybe a crack here and there, but definitely that foundation will not dissolve
So
itself.
I experienced my first earthquake
Oh, did you?
when I was in LA in September.
Oh, that's right.
And
Yes,
I was
we
like
did have one.
sitting on the bed in the hotel room. And it kind of like, shook a little bit. And I was like,
What is
I
this?
really hope that's not my next door neighbor because I don't want to have to deal with this for the next couple of days. And then I read that it was
was
an
an
earthquake. And
earthquake.
I was like, wow.
Yes.
Those things are crazy. Like, they're no joke.
And it's interesting when you're in the warehouse and you actually have a earthquake. You can actually see the product just like moving because they're so heavy.
Oh, yes. That is
Yes.
terrifying. What do you do in that instance?
We immediately call the material handlers that are on the lift because you can't feel it if you're on a lift driving.
Right, because you got to get them out too.
Yes.
Because if anything
so
falls
definitely
over.
get them out.
Yeah.
The rolls are so heavy, particularly rolls. Liner boards are like about 8,000 pounds. They kind of don't move, but you can see them kind of. You definitely want to get out of that building.
Terrifying. So safety, quality, compliance is all up your alley. Like, that's-
Absolutely. Safety is our number one
Yeah.
priority for our employees.
Yeah.
Get the heck out of that building.
Yeah. So I want to just acknowledge this because you have worked hard, climbed the ladder. You became the first female director of operations at WSI.
Yes.
Woo woo. Can we just give a woo woo?
Yes.
This is the second time today I've needed a confetti thing that we can like,
should have
but I
brought
don't
it.
have one. Anyways, it's all good. But that's an incredible achievement, right? So how did you get support from WSI? What do you attribute that to? Obviously, your hard work.
Yeah.
But there has to be some support within WSI to be able to help you with that trajectory and get into that position as
Yep.
the first female. What does that look like?
So in today's world, we have a lot of mentorship programs.
Ah,
So we
okay.
build them because we knew we needed that.
Yeah.
We have manager training programs. We have new facility manager mentoringship. We're actually
Yeah.
developing one for directors. So back in my day, I didn't have that.
I didn't have it
I
either.
didn't have somebody right next to me telling me what I'm doing right,
Right.
or wrong. I learned the hard way. But WSI as a whole, as a company, supported me everything that I wanted to do. So they challenged me every single day, and that's where I was able to kind of climb the chain.
Right.
But I surrounded myself with a lot of mentors. I have people that I have
on your own, like you kind of did it
like
on
my
your own.
my coworkers are just my mentors. I have a handful of people that I've known for over 20 plus years.
So let me ask you a question, because you say mentors. What were they more advocate? Were they mentors? Were they advocates? Were they sponsors?
No,
because
they
those
were
are like
mentors.
3 different things, right?
Well, they're mentors, and I think nowadays we talked about advocates with Jennifer
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
She kind of talked about that.
That's what I'm asking.
So mentoring, I mean, if I needed advice on how to do something or what I should do, I would call my coworkers. So there's a handful of people that actually help me navigate the things that I should do or not do. But in today's world now, I have a lot of advocates. And I love seeing that because there's a lot of men advocating for me.
Right.
And I love, like, our president, you know, Paul out there. Shout out to him. He's one of those biggest advocates, you know, Bob Schrader and everybody else that actually advocates for women to be have a voice.
Awesome. Well, and you have a team here at the Women in Supply Chain Forum in Atlanta.
Yes.
Which just goes to show that they do support that. And I love to see that.
Right.
Because we need more companies supporting women to come to events like this.
I completely agree.
Because it's not only beneficial to the women in their professional career, it's also beneficial to the company. Because we learn and we grow. And
then we uplift each other, right?
Networking.
Networking. You have my coworker over here, and Mariana that
Nominated gotta give her
me
a shout out. She's just off
Trailblazer. So kudos to her. Definitely don't like the attention, but I'll take it.
I'm sure you will. So that's the one thing. I mean, I think we need to get better at is sort of empowering ourselves.
I know.
Tooting our own horn, you know, sharing other women's accomplishments and things like that. So I'm glad that you are sitting here in this chair and we're having this conversation because everybody deserves a platform to talk about their journey and their perspective and what that looks like in a safe environment. You know, with no judgment. So let's go back to the mentorship question. What advice then do you have for young professionals, supply chain professionals? Sometimes I feel we get like totally honed in on, I need a mentor, and I'm not doing good if I don't have a mentor. I don't think that's the right approach.
Agreed.
But what advice do you have for somebody who is like locked in, I need a mentor, or is looking for a mentor? How should they look for one?
So make sure that there's, I think, 3 components that I think you have to make sure to be a successful mentor. You have to be patient, right? Because they're not going to get it at the beginning. So you gotta invest. Second would be invest your time. It's going to be a while. If you think you're going to spend an hour a week, it's not going to happen, right? And then you have to be passionate about it. If you do not like helping people succeed, just don't do it.
Just don't do it. That's actually good advice for anybody who is a mentor or thinking about being a mentor. But those are also really great qualities for a young professional who are seeking mentors as well. Because a lot of times we forget how much time needs to be invested from the mentor side of things. And they have a family and a job.
They have a family.
You know, all that kind of stuff. So all of that needs to be taken into consideration. So that's qualities from a mentor. But if a young professional is looking for a mentor, how do you feel like they should go about it?
Don't be afraid to raise your hand. I think people think you got to be brave enough to raise your hand and say, hey, I need help. It's okay for you to ask help. It's not going to define you that you're not being successful in your own right? So just understanding that you need help and ask for it.
Yeah.
But we said, if you don't ask, you don't get, right?
Yeah.
So ask for it.
So you're director of operations. Talk to me about your perspective on the industry right now. What do you think, you know, the top challenges are for supply chain professionals at the moment? And then get out your crystal ball and tell me what you think 2025 is going to look like.
I wish I would. I would get those lottery tickets.
I need one too, okay?
Right?
I mean, I just won $15 on the Florida Lotto
Good
last
for you.
week.
You're getting there. You're getting closer.
What?
Just a few million shy, but we're
Never
good.
happened.
I think right now for me, one of the biggest challenges is I know we have to be automated to be competitive. There has to be a lot of changes that are occurring, especially in automation. But I feel like in doing so, the challenge to me is making sure that we don't lose the connectivity on one-on-one with individuals, especially our customers, right?
Right.
I just feel that personal one-on-one touch, like, hey, how are you doing? Just as simple, right? We're missing that. And I feel like with the automation that we may tend to lose that. So I think in the future, just making sure that we focus on that.
We got to be a little bit more intentional about
picking up the phone, having those conversations with them. You know, not just when things go wrong.
It's true.
right?
It's really, really true. I mean, communication really is key in this.
Key.
In this environment, you know, and how people are feeling about all sorts of things.
Yes.
The industry, things can get so misconstrued.
I completely agree.
Slack, email.
email.
And a lot of times we're not necessarily thinking good intentions first.
Right.
We go to sort of that bad intention, which is not the greatest, and we all have to be able to curb that, right?
Absolutely.
Because we have to go in with the other person had good intentions and not just snap.
Especially when you read something, right? You may take it the wrong way, but
Yeah.
I maybe didn't send it for you to
Yeah.
take it that particular way. So just
Yeah.
pick up the phone.
I think it's an intention and grace, right?
Right.
We have to just go in with the other person had good intentions. The grace
That's
part
all you
of
can
it,
do.
let's talk it through.
Like through it. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
This is what it felt like to me. Try not to use capital letters. I mean,
I know.
let's just say,
Why are you yelling at me?
An email, capital letters aren't
I
yelling.
know.
Okay, let's just, talk about that. So what's your approach to the workplace? You have a team. You've been there a long time. Talk to me about your leadership style and, maybe some advice to other leaders in the supply chain industry, because there's a lot of change.
Yeah.
Right? People are overwhelmed. People are burnt out. There's a lot of disruption. There's a lot of change. There's a lot going on personally and professionally. And we don't just show up as professionals. We're just ourselves, right? It's all
agree.
about showing up holistically. So what does that look like for you? And how do you succeed as a leader with your team?
So I don't like to micromanage, so I empower my employees to do the decisions they make.
I'm so with you.
I think if you make a mistake, you'll learn from it, and that's okay. Just let me know, and we'll just
Give
learn
them
from it.
space.
Give them space to make those
yeah.
decisions, and I think that's the only way you're going to be able for them to grow, right? Because you learn from your mistakes. I learn from my mistakes, and being empathetic. Being a new manager that didn't have that one person right next to me, I'm very empathetic. I'm a sucker for new employees, especially managers. I will help you if you call me just for advice. I will do it. I'll spend the time. So I really see it as just a helping hand. Now, it could be personal, it could be professional, need advice, whatever it is. I'm a really sucker for helping people. I can't help myself.
Do you have any advice for other leaders out there that might be watching this on how you've been successful in your leadership style? I mean, you've worked at the same company for a long time. I don't know if you've had any leadership training. I certainly didn't when I ended up in a director position.
Right.
I read a lot. I did do as much as I could for my own personal development.
Right.
What does that look like for you?
So I was fortunate enough where the company invested for quite a bit. It wasn't cheap. Initiative One, which was like leadership training.
Awesome. Good.
We were flown out to Green Bay, Wisconsin quite
Hopefully
often.
not in the winter.
Yes, it was in the winter as well,
I'm so
unfortunately. But that helped me understand why I lead, why I react to certain things, because it keeps you going into your inner circle. I grew up in a very strict family. I was women supposed to be in the kitchen. Yes. So it kind of taught me that. And I think that created where I was able to grow and my voice was more heard. I'm more open now, or more vocal. So that helped. I think people should take those kind of courses to assist with that. But I think as a leader, you need to make sure that you help others for their success, not necessarily yours.
Yeah, I love that. That's such great advice. It's such great advice. Go get leadership training. If you haven't had leadership training, go get leadership training.
Initiative One.
Now, I want to shift gears a little bit, right? Because I don't think we talk about our achievements and our accomplishments nearly enough.
I know.
You've been in the industry a long time. Give them all to me. What are all your achievements? All your accomplishments.
Gosh, we'll be here all day.
And I wish I had my confetti stick, but I don't.
I wish.
So just know that I would strew confetti.
I'm going to give you the most satisfying one of all.
Okay.
Being able to sit on the big boys table and being the first director and sitting with just a bunch of men. But I love those guys. Those guys are very supportive. They've never made me feel like I'm any inferior than they are. Equally, there's help me navigate through situations. But I think that was the biggest gratifying aha moment that I made it. And I think at that point I realized I don't need to prove myself anymore. I felt like I had to prove myself all those years until I got there.
At what point in your career did that happen though? How many
I
years
think once
in?
I was sitting in the big boys table.
But how many years in?
Oh gosh, that was maybe about 19 years. I think I've done it for
we
5
gotta
years
put work
now.
in, right?
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't given to me. I really worked my ass off. So things
Takes time. We gotta be patient.
Absolutely, got to be patient.
Take opportunities.
And I'm grateful for that because it makes you build a thicker skin. So
Yeah.
if somebody looks at you, just brush it off, right? I laugh about it. I think it's the funniest thing, but it really helps you build your character.
So when you were sitting there for the first time at that table,
Well, funny story.
tell me about it.
So again, I didn't have anybody next to me. So when I became a director, that it was announced like a month and a half later, I was supposed to attend operational meetings on Mondays. No one told me that. Until one of my counterparts said, hey, do you realize that you have to attend these? I'm like, okay, great. So I sat on that call, and it was very interesting because all I seen was just men. And then I was just the one popping up.
Was it on Zoom?
Yes.
So it was like squares.
Squares.
Okay.
And
just
then
trying to paint the picture.
Right there in the middle.
I got
so
you.
it was pretty gratifying.
That is so awesome. Well, how did you feel though? Like, were you just sitting back and smiling? You probably weren't even listening to what they were saying. You were just like,
yeah, I was
this
just,
is awesome.
wow, I'm here now. Like, that hard work paid off. I felt somewhat vindicated.
Okay.
You know, I think a lot of women here would feel that same way. I think the fact that we're here where we are now is a testament of success.
Yeah.
For those that doubted us, just vindication.
And what about our own doubt? I don't know if you went through that, but
I
like
absolutely-
self-doubt is rampant.
I'll be honest with you. I have a 27-year-old and a 13-year-old. I felt guilty through my 27-year-old as he was growing up because I felt guilty. I would feel really like a bad mom.
Yeah.
You know, because there was hours I'd work 12 hours a day, 14
Yeah.
hours if I had to. I had to do what I had to do. It wasn't given to me. I really worked hard.
Yeah.
So wasn't willing to do that with my 13-year-old. If I have to, I will. I don't mind working, but definitely it's night and day. And now I feel like I don't have to work those many hours because I've already proved myself. I don't need to prove nothing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Now, you have won the Trailblazer Award here at the Woman in Supply Chain, well, the Women's Supply Chain Awards, but we're here at the Women's Supply Chain Forum to celebrate the winners, because there was a lot of winners this year.
I know.
But you won a Trailblazer Award. What does that mean to you? Knowing what we've just heard, what does that mean to you, though?
Right, but going back to vindication, for those that doubted me, here I am today as a Trailblazer Award winner and as a director.
Dance to that.
Yes, I think we should have had some music here.
I love it. I love it. Well, you're in really good company. I mean, at the end of the day, there are so many amazing women in this industry, and it's so funny because there's some people in supply chain that don't realize that they're in supply chain.
I know.
Because it covers so many different jobs and aspects and all sorts of stuff, which is crazy. So you're an inspiration to a lot of people. Who's your inspiration?
I would say my mother.
Oh,
she's mid-70s.
Yeah.
Still worked her behind off. She makes my dad 3 meals a day still. Woman, if we're walking, she's like a quarter of a mile ahead of me. Like, lady, where are you going?
In high heels, because my grandmother used to be in high heels, and she'd be like,
high
tick,
heels.
tick, 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 tick.
Yes, she's very active. So I want to be able to be that way. Just continue to be successful and be active, and then hopefully at some point might inspire my daughter to do just that and understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. If you work off, it pays off.
Oh, I'm sure you will be such an inspiration to
She
her.
was stoked to know that I was doing a podcast. By the way, I was cool, mom.
Can we give a shout out to her? What's her name?
Aaliyah, I love you, baby girl.
Yes, Aaliyah. Hi, Aaliyah. Your mom's doing it.
She was so
She's
stoked.
doing the thing.
She
All
goes,
right.
"You are?"
Last question. What does the future hold for Maria?
I want to be able to. Obviously, I want to see this company. From where I started to now, it's grown, and I want to see it potentially double. They probably think I'm crazy, but I want to be able to help with that, growing and inspiring other leaders to just encourage them that we can do it, right? You have a lot of females out there that I think have potential, but I don't think we advocate so much for them. So I want to start doing that a lot more.
Yes.
Advocate for women, make sure that they encourage, like, hey, if I did it, you could do it. So that's what the future's looking for.
Awesome. Well, I have absolutely loved this conversation.
Appreciate
getting to
you.
know you.
Had fun.
And learn a little bit more about your journey. I think the audience is really going to take a lot away from this conversation. So, did you have a guess at today's big question? Well, at the top of the show, I asked you, according to Women in Trucking Association, what percentage of executives in the C-suite in transportation and logistics are women? Well, it's only 28%.
Really?
So we have some work
Yeah,
to
work
do,
to
people.
Right.
But I believe that it can be done. An average of 34.5% are company leaders with supervisory responsibilities, and an average of 29.5% of board members are women. This is not high enough, and we definitely have some work to do.
We do.
Well, Maria, thank you so much for joining me
Thank you
here
for having me.
for my Woman in Supply Chain series.
Thank you.